Yes, I embrace that view. I mean, we are now entering the multipolar period in world history. And the start of that, because for many years the world was dominated first by the United States and the Soviet Union, then by the United States alone. Now any decision we want to make will have to imply United States, China, Europe, India, Brazil, Japan, and many smaller powers as well. We have to find compromises between all of them. That was also what went wrong in Copenhagen. It had nothing to do with environment and climate. There was not a proper understanding of this new multipolar world, and was not a proper understanding of the fact that it was not just about environment, but it was about restructuring of the world economy. But we are in the initial phase of this multipolar world. We don't understand it fully as yet, but I'm absolutely certain that the 21st century will be this multipolar system, and basically I think it's good. Yeah, we cannot lower our long-term aspirations because the world desperately needs an all-encompassing climate deal. That must be the aim. But on the road to that target, we must build floor by floor, room by room of the climate house. And there is a lot we can do in Cancun to bring us on the road to a later binding agreement. We are basically in agreement in the world today about forestry conservation, climate adaptation, technology transfer, many other issues. Let's clinch a deal on these matters and then continue with the rest. What we cannot resolve in Cancun is the basic difference of opinion between the United States on one side and rapidly developing powers like China and India and Brazil on the others. That cannot be resolved in one day, but finally we'll resolve that, but not in a big bang of climate politics where everything is in one explosion resolved, but building step by step, moving step by step. While we continue to aim at the all-encompassing climate agreement, we should form coalitions of the willing, say those nations who want to take active steps on the conservation of forest. The rainforest nations and donor nations come together either bilaterally, like we have done with Brazil, Indonesia and Guyana, or in coalitions like we have done with the Rainforest Coalition. There is no way to wait until there is full agreement. We can move ahead on this matter. And Indonesia is now taking very brave steps. We give support to that, and we have promised $1 billion to Indonesia on the basis that Indonesia decide how it will reduce deforestation. It will be monitored through satellites that the actual results are there, and when the results are produced, we will compensate financially. That's exactly what we do today nationally. If we start a nature conservancy scheme in Norway, because we compensate people for doing that, we have to do the same globally to compensate people living in the forest of Kalimantan or Papua or Sumatra for conserving and sustainably use the forest. By far the most important compromise between the two is technological development. There is frankly no way of fighting climate change without rapid technological development. In the case of Norway, for instance, to move very soon into electrical and hybrid cars within our car park, to move into carbon capture and storage when it comes to big industries and oil and gas sector. And to move into much more energy efficient electricity system. So economic development through getting more out of less through new technology, that's the answer to that question, I think. I take the optimistic view. I see no reason to be a pessimist. I mean, true, there are still far too many poor people in the world, but the percentage of poor in the world is much lower than at any point in human history. When I was born, average life expectancy in the world was less than 50 years. Now it's close to 70 years. That's happened in one generation. It's an enormous change. At my grandparents' time, the average citizen of the world could expect to be about 45. Now it's 70. What a change. We can do that if there is political will. On the Millenium Development Goals, true, they're not fully implemented, but a lot has happened. Nearly all boys in the world today start schooling, not all girls, and not all boys unfortunately in nations affected by conflict, but most are attending school. And then next issue is how to improve the quality of the education. Same applies to climate change. If there is real will, we will be able to do it, but then politicians and the public opinion must frame the market for the market forces and the industries to develop the new technologies. And let me give you one astonishing example of what has been done when it comes to climate change. 7 years back, from 7 years back until now, Brazil has reduced its deforestation rate with 75%. It's fantastic. It's the biggest effort of any nation in the world to combat climate change, and it's due to one item, political will of President Lula and his advisors simply to do it, and they've done it. We have supported it, but they've done it.